All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors, as a part of great millstone, atonement, truth, and rule. Peace, blessing, and salutation, I come out there, scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth, that serving this truth and truth sincerity. Till I say Shalom. This is Brother Nabala, continuing the video in the spirit. And the top of this video is going to be about war is in his heart. And what sparked this video topic was, as you see, so like here 1 second. I can't remember the exact day, but we already know that America, Israel, and Iran, they got their war tensions and their conflict going on, and they're supposed to be entered into a ceasefire. And I believe last week that they were supposed to be entering into a 60-day ceasefire. And after, apparently Trump came out with that saying that Israel, they shot off missiles, at Iran, and they're just showing you, and Esau's going to continue to show you his true nature, of that his true wickedness that's instilled inside of him, man. That he can't be trusted, and he's just that violent man, and he's and right now, the Lord has a spirit on him where he can't help himself, he can't contain himself. It's like the scriptures call him a pursuer of blood, because that's how he was after, the children of Israel. But he's like that with all people. He's that pursuer of blood. Especially when war is involved. He can't control himself, because he's it says violence compasses them as a chain. He loves violence. So anytime he has a chance to act on it or to partake in it, he's going to do it. Even if he so-called says that they're going to, enter into a ceasefire or take a break, it's like he has that itching finger. He can't help himself. Like he has to shoot something off. He has to shoot at or kill something, and that's just his true nature, and it's being shown more and more as we continue, to go through these times, who he truly is, man, and that you just can't trust this man, and you can't believe the things that he says, because he's going to go back on them, So this is Psalms 55 and 20. It says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. Yeah. There was a point in time where all these other nations were at peace with you. But now he is putting forth his hands towards them. And why is this whole conflict started between Israel and Iran? Where it started between Israel and Palestine, because what they want that land. They want that land, and they were trying to say that Palestine was using, I think it's lithium, or I forgot exactly what it is with resource over there, but they're basically saying that they're accusing them of using that to make nuclear weapons, which they wasn't. They wasn't trying to do that at all. But that's the reason why this Israel was trying to justify themselves as going to war with them, and then they intensify where Iran, Iran and Israel, they got into it, and then we all know that America backs Israel. So, and the scriptures say the least of the flock shall draw him out. But you're talking about Israel drawing out America to come fight over there in the Middle East, and with them doing that, it's going to cause all these other nations, Russia and China, to get involved, and it's all going to lead up to World War III, and all this is the fulfillment of biblical prophecy, and it says he broken his covenant, because it was Esau goes around and makes these deals and these deals with these people, but he always goes back on them, So we're seeing the same thing with this peace treaty. You know, they supposedly, I mean, not peace treaty, but this ceasefire. They're supposed to be entering into a ceasefire. Then here you go, Israel shooting off missiles. And then verse 21 says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Yeah, and that's the point, man. War is always in Esau Edom's heart, man. And you got Trump trying to say that he called Netanyahu, I forgot how you said the prime minister's name in Israel. Can't say it right now, but he basically called him crazy for doing that because, you know, they're in the middle of trying to, you know, have these negotiations so they can open up the Strait of Hormuz and get some type of make some type of deal so they can, so in their minds they can get everything back to normal. But things are not going to go back to normal. You know, things are already kick-started, you know, and they're going to keep happening. And this is all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, Esau can't do nothing about it. You know, no matter what he tries to do, he can't do nothing about it. I'm gonna grab this real quick. This is Proverbs 21:1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of the water, he turneth it whatsoever he will. Yeah. So, yeah, you can try to say you're going to enter into a ceasefire, but the Lord is putting the spirit on Netanyahu. I believe that's how you say it, Netanyahu. Let's put the spirit on him, you know, to shoot off the missiles, man. You know, regardless of whatever ceasefire y'all supposed to be entering to, he's putting the spirit on him to do that to keep the ball rolling, you know. And then just recent day, a few hours before, like a couple hours ago, you had Iran retaliate with shooting their missiles back off at Israel, man. You know, and supposedly this has been the first time Iran has shot missiles back since they initially entered into, I believe, their first ceasefire back in April. You know, so we're at the point where, and then after this past attack that Israel did last week, Iran said that they're not willing to have no more talks or negotiations with America or Israel. Man, they say they're done talking because they're seeing Esau's true nature too. You know, which they've been seeing it, but now they're really understanding that there's really no deals to make with this man. You know, he's always gonna rule with his blessing, which is a sword, because that's how he's always ruled. When you come over here to Isaiah 14:6, it says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and not hindered. Yeah, and that's how Esau has ruled, man, with a continual stroke, man. You know, always hitting the other nations on the head, man. And that continuous stroke goes to when he uses his firepower, man. You know, he says, and he rules nations in anger. He really rules in anger, you know. And when he comes to do these, when he so-called comes to do these deals, if he don't get what he wants, then what did he do? He basically resorts back to the sword, man. You know, and we've been seeing it. You know, there's different ways. He is sending an economic hitman, you know, to destroy from the inside out. You know, they'll take out leaders and stuff like that and set up leaders they want in that position, or they'll just like they did before. They just, hey, we'll shoot off missiles on you. We'll come in with our firepower and blow something up, you know, and something that you're gonna really need, and make you conform to us that way. And this is how Esau has always ruled, man. And now these nations, they have realized that, and now they're at the point where they don't. Some of these nations, they don't have to take it no more. And like the scriptures say, Russia's gonna be a guard unto them. So these other nations have made allies with Russia, and China. They got the big boys on their side. So if it really gets out of hand, they know that they can rely on them to protect them. So I'm gonna grab this just to further back up the point. This is Genesis 27 and 39. It says, "And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck." Yeah, and that's how Esau has been able to live and rule the world, through that sword, because that's how he lives. There's a point in time where these other nations around the world, they didn't have the firepower and technology, or wasn't advanced in their firepower and technology as Esau was, man. So Esau, like when you go back to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when he dropped Fat Man and Little Boy, the world never seen nothing like that, and that put all these other nations in ultimate fear of this place, man, and put these other nations in ultimate fear of Esau, because they seen that sword that he had, and how horrific it could be. But now we're in a time where these other nations, they didn't accumulated firepower amongst themselves. They've been able to increase in their firepower and their technology, where they can hold their own off, and that's what Iran is doing. They're able to hold their own, But all this is happening is so Esau can continue to get exposed of who he truly is. So let me come over here. This is Proverbs 1:16. It says, "For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood." Yeah, because Esau is an evil man, and he make haste to shed blood, and like I said and earlier, any chance he gets where he can do some violence, he's gonna do it, man, because that's all he knows, man. That's like I brought out in that Genesis. That's his blessing, the sword. So anytime he has a chance to wield that sword, he's gonna do it, man. That's just in his nature. So I'm gonna come over here, grab this account. It's First Maccabees 7 and 18. It says, "Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, There is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made." Yeah. And when you go back to the time of the Maccabees, this is what the Edomites were good at. They were good at, would try to say that we're coming to you like this, or we're coming to this, and if we're not gonna do no harm to you, or we don't have no problems with you, then they'll go back on their words, and they'll slaughter. And they did that to the children of Israel a lot. It's a special kind. I forgot the name of the brother did that, but he came with his men. I forgot the names of the men, but he came with his men, and he said, "We don't have no problem. Send your men back." And he sent his men back, and only kept a certain amount with him. And once he did that, they slew him and his men. That's how Esau conducts himself, man. And now that's being shown to the whole world, that there's no truth nor righteousness in them. This man does not have there's no truth in this man. The scripture saying, John 8:44, he's the father of lies. And us in the truth, we have been awakened up to the fact that he's the father of lies, that he's the wicked, that you can't trust him. But now these other nations are being awakened to that same fact. So now when Iran says that they're not going to come back to the table, because it's saying that Trump is mad that Israel has done this, and he's saying to Iran, okay, y'all shut off your missiles, not come back to the table. But Iran's not going to come back to the table, because Every time they try to come to the table, every time y'all have tried to have some type of negotiations, it's never worked well. And they even said it when this war in the beginning, when this conflict started. They said every time every time before, it really kicked off and America got involved, they said every time we have talked to y'all, and y'all have made these promises or said these sayings, y'all have always attacked us. So they have, the Lord is shining the light on Esau, man, and exposing him more and more. And that's how you know that we are in the end times and we are getting closer and closer to this man's downfall, man. So you come over here to Sirach 12:10. It says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth so with his weakness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his wrath hath not been altogether wiped away. To set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place, and to let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at thy last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Yeah. And so it says, you can't let this man sit by you. Don't let this man near you. You can't let Esau with you. That's what it says, never trust him. And though he gonna humble himself and crouch and take good heed and beware of him. Because what? When that analogy that it gives is comparing his rust not all being together wiped away, because it's something rusted, you can put coating over it to make it still look good, to make it look shiny, to give it that new look or a better appearance. But if it gets wiped off, then that rust still remains there, and that's Esau, man. He's still that wicked. He still has the spirit of that serpent that goes all the way back to the garden, man. He still has that wicked spirit within him, and he tries to make his appearance look like he's such a good guy. He comes with his suits and tie, clean shaved, faced, having his hand out, want to give you a handshake, but behind his back he got a knife. So when you turn your back, he's willing to take you up out of the way. And like you say, and then he wants to take your place. And we've seen movies like that many times. They'll whack a leader, and they'll set somebody up in this stead so they can continue to push their motives, man. We done seen plenty of movies where Edomite was a bad guy and he got caught or is about to get exposed, and he plays that, yeah, you're right, or I'll turn myself in, or this and a third, and the guy whoever caught them up, they'll say okay, and as soon as they turn away or let their guard down, they'll take them up out of the way. That's how Esau is, man. That's why you can never trust his men. You can never trust them. So I'm gonna grab this. It's Nahum 3:5. It says, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Yeah. It's verse 6 says, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. Yep. And that's what the Lord is doing. He's pinning the skirts upon Esau's face, man. And he's showing the nations thy nakedness. He's exposing you to the whole world. That you are the problem. You're the problem. You're the reason why things are happening, man. You're the one who's causing all these problems in the earth. You are, man. You're the one going around the earth, grabbing presidents up, man. Threatening other countries, threatening other nations. Killing, shooting bombs off of missiles at different leaders of these other nations, taking them out. They done took out I don't know how many different Iranian leaders, man. Shooting missiles off in civilized areas, increasing and killing old and young, destroying people's homes, and leaving them out there to dry. You're the one who's doing all these things, man. So now it's time for you to be exposed. And it's rightfully for these things to be happening, because you're still piling up all this blood on your hands, man. Because the more blood that you put on your hands, the more blood that's gonna be required from you, man. So I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna close out. This is Joel 3:9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare a war, wake up the mighty man, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong." And we see that. The Lord is putting the spirit on these other nations to get ready their war weapons, man. And let the weak say I'm strong. These nations that was on a weaker level, and now they're strong now because of their arsenal, because of their nuclear weapons, because of the missiles that they have. Because they supposedly did this operation where they attacked some of Iran's I guess different sites, their weapon sites or something. But when these last pair of missiles they shot off, it's showing that they still have missiles, which I'm pretty sure Iran still has missiles in different sites that America and Israel doesn't know about. And then it came out that Russia has been giving Iran intel, So we gonna see what's gonna happen. But the point is, war is always gonna be in this man's heart, and it's not gonna stop until he completely feels his purpose and agenda. And of course he's trying to say that he wants Iran to come to the table. They can come up with some type of deal, type of straight moves, but deep down, if he can have it his way, he wants to completely dismantle and destroy Iran, as far as their weapon system, man. And that's gonna come with taking a lot of people out, man, because you have people over there in Iran that's not gonna never want to be on the side of this man or never forgive this man, and not gonna forget the things that they've done. And they're gonna always have that hatred for them because of what they just done throughout history, man. And Esau can understand that. Esau's not stupid. He can understand that. So if he can have it his way, he would completely wipe out that whole region, man. So it wouldn't be a threat anymore. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And it's also is for everyone to see this, for everyone to see Esau's true colors, man. That he is a wicked man, and showing and the Lord is allowing him to continue to keep showing his hand, keep showing his true characteristics, man. So everyone can have that evil eye towards him, and so everyone can understand, mainly for Jake to understand why this man has to be taken out. But the only ones who are going to understand that and truly understand that is the elect. We understand why this man has to be taken out because we see what he's doing. So we're going to continue to watch and just going to continue to give the warning, But don't be surprised or what you see later down the road, man. Esau going to really, really show his horns. So don't be surprised if something big really takes off. So I'm going to close out by giving our praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Shalom.